This is the House of Glory Winter Warfare review talk, the last big show for House of Glory before the end of 2026. This show opened in absolute chaos, not because of the wrestling, because of other technical difficulties. Unfortunately, the first difficulty is that because of some weather advisory, original match was supposed to be Ken Broadway versus Matt Cardona. But unfortunately, Matt Cardona got stuck in the airport and he couldn't make it. So, although I don't have a good picture of it, Ken Broadway then went against Marcus Mathers. And the show opened in chaos because while they were coming out, we lost the signal. When I mean we lost the signal. The live feed of this damn show got lost, and I'm like, God damn. But yeah, it got lost. So I didn't go to the show physically. I watched it from home, and unfortunately, I did lose the signal for a good, I'm assuming 5 minutes, because it felt forever. But we were halfway through their entrances when the feed got cut out. And by the time we got visuals back, the match was already underway with no commentary. It was rough start, no question, but the crowd immediately locked in behind Matters, chanting his name like they were willing the show back to life. Now, Salamonster, who is one of the announcers in the show, he's a good wrestling podcaster. Check him out when you can. Um, and also is the general manager for House of Glory. He apologized and he took the bullet and apologized to those watching live of the signal cut. They understand everyone's frustration, but they recognize their fault and apologize to the crowd, which that were watching online, so which was great. Mathers wrestled like someone trying to pull the night back on track himself. The offense was crisp, aggressive, and urgent. Penalty kicks, high impact strikes. That blue thunderbomb that he did near fall was the first moment the crowd collectively leaned forward and started focusing hard on this show. Broadway weathered it and fought back with power, diving to the floor and matching Mathers' intensity beat by beat. The Canadian Destroyer near fall felt like it should have been it, and that's when Broadway flipped the switch, landing the standard powerbomb, super kick, and top rope elbow to steal the win. It was clean, it was smooth, but it worked for this match. Sometimes a bad start forces for a great finish, and that's exactly what happened here between Marcus Mathers and Ken Broadway. Marcus Mathers didn't lose because he was worse, he lost because Ken Broadway caught him at the finish line. And with chaos, we started a good match. Welcome in, Rudy. We move on to the second match. Royal and Silver versus Jaquez and Jackson. This started as a promo that eventually ended up with a brawl, with then eventually Salamonster from the announcer's table grabbing a mic and making this, as Teddy Long would usually do, make it into a tag match player. And he made it into a tag match between these two groups. It got built very quickly, and it was a great match. So Raheem Royal was fearless to a fault, and the backflip dive early in this match was spectacular. But it also nearly went horribly wrong. That tone followed the entire match. Everything hit hard, everything moved fast, and at one point, did it feel safe? Because it was just chaotic. It just kept moving fast to dangerous proportions. The heels of this match controlled the middle stretch of this match, isolating Royal and using tandem offense to wear him down. Joe Silver eventually does a spine buster and a late game super kick, which helps steady up the match a bit more. But once Wisdom got involved and the referee got pulled, the story was already written. Wisdom is, sorry for not clarifying, Wisdom is the heel's manager. So imagine just a Paul Heyman, a young Paul Heyman. So he got involved in the match. Royals visuals pinfall should have been the moment. Instead, it became the setup. Idris Jackson spinning clothesline and top rope elbow ended it. And the post-match pilmanizing of Royals' ankle made it clear this wasn't about winning a match. This was about ending momentum. High risk wrestling always asks one question: what happens when the landing goes wrong? And that was that match. And this is the match I was looking forward to because, as always, it's always nice to see. Well, it's always unfortunate. Let me start with this. It's always unfortunate to see wrestlers from whether it's AEW, TNA, or WWE get released and they end up going to the indies, but then they use that time in the indies to retool themselves, rebrand themselves. And Shotzi's been doing pretty great since she got released earlier this year and refiguring it out herself. And so far, her run in House of Glory has been promising. So I was looking forward for this match against Allie Katch, who got injured earlier this year when she wrestled someone else in House of Glory, but she is finally back, and we get to see her go toe-to-toe with Shotzi for the Women's Championship. This was quietly one of the best matches of the show. We see Shotzi enter the ring, and before this, House of Glory has been, when you go to their YouTube or you go to the wrestlers' YouTube, they tend to have working on promo videos. They do either they're doing it on their own or they're getting help from House of Glory. Shotzi did a promo on her YouTube of her trying to rebrand the belt, pretty much saying the belt needs to fit her persona. So her persona now in the independent, which I feel like she was trying to do in WWE, but they wouldn't let her go fully. It's her calling herself the ballsy Shotzi Blackheart. So her statement of being ballsy is obviously her getup that you've seen her done in WWE, but now it's more greener than ever, and she pretty much took the House of Glory women's belt and redid the leather in green. She shows in the video that she spray painted it, but obviously it looks here like they just put a new skin on it. But still, that is just her making a statement that she's here to stay. But anyway, Shotzi wrestled like a champion in this match, trying to prove her legitimacy in House of Glory, while Allie Katch leaned fully into the grit, personality, and resilience of Shotzi. The early filtration and mind games between these two gave way to stiff strikes and clean execution. Every near fall felt earned. Every escape made sense. When Shotzi missed the sliced attacks, you could have feel the crowd believe that that was the turning point for her. Instead, Shotzi adjusted, took the fight to the apron, and finished it with a top rope senton that landed beautifully. It wasn't flashy, it was sound. This was just a good women's match from beginning to end. This was one of the best paced matches on the entire card. Shotzi retains, absolutely right call. Now, I don't know if this match will be available on the House of Glory YouTube page. Sometimes they take past pay-per-views that they do and release some of the matches from that pay-per-view for free so you can watch in House of Glory if you don't want to get Thriller TV to watch this. So if you want to see some of Shotzi's work, the last pay-per-view that I reviewed from the Chicago one, they did the match. They released the Shotzi match where she won the title. I think it was pretty good. It was very good storytelling between the two, and hopefully this one gets released too. I think they should just, the same way they did it with Matt Cardona, the way they did it with Santo Santana, they should do it with Shotzi. Like, let's put full guns ahead, try to promote these people. Make them do matches with the House of Glory students to keep pushing the relevancy for the students, as well as helping Shotzi get pushed harder. But we will see. Next match, we get some tag team action between the main event on my left and Dual Focus on my right. By the time this match started, the crowd already understood the subtext. This was not supposed to be a competitive match. The main event entered like a team, trying to remind everyone who they are. Former champs, one of the biggest champs in House of Glory history, proven names, wrestlers who expected to control the pace the moment the bell rings. Dual Focus, meanwhile, came across like exactly what they are: young, hungry, and still figuring things out in real time as a tag team. The contrast was the story between these two. Early on, the main event bullied the match. Jay Leon from Dual Focus tossed JJP around the ease, roaring and posturing while Midas Black leaned into the veteran role, isolating Prime and grinding him down with strikes and control holds. Commentary even pointed out to the body language, the barking, the frustration, the subtle blame already forming between the former champs. But the longer they went, the more cracks, as you can see, started to show. Prime absorbed punishment and refused to stay down. JJP finally got the hot tag and exploded into the match with urgency, flying through the ropes and landing a clean suplex that woke the crowd up. Suddenly, this wasn't a showcase anymore. It was a fight between two tag teams of different levels. The finish came fast, and that's why it worked. Midas went up for the frog splash, assuming the moment was his. Prime got his knees up, as you can see, rolled him through, and secured a flash pin for the finish. 3 seconds later, the building erupted, not because it was flashy, but because it felt earned for this tag team. The camera immediately caught Midas sitting up in disbelief, staring into space, realizing he had just been pinned by a rookie. The reaction told the entire story. The post-match tension, the refusal of the handshake, the shouting, and then the forced reconciliation all felt real. This wasn't just an upset. This was the beginning of the fracture for the main event. This wasn't the rookie upset. This was main event realizing the vision caught up to them. Big moment. The crowd bought every minute of it. We get to the House of Glory Cruiserweight Championship between Darren Richardson, the champ, and Amazing Red. This was the match of the night, with a close second going to Shotzi's match. And it wasn't close. What started as a little match turned into controlled chaos the moment it became no disqualification. Chairs, doors, kendo sticks, crowd brawling, outside interference that felt organic instead of excessive. The crowd wanted Red to win so bad. Every near fall built more and more hope. Almost a reminder of Saturday Night Main Event. Every kickoff added belief. When Red snapped the kendo stick across Darren's back, the building was ready to explode. But unfortunately, that's when Carlos Ramirez happened. He came into the ring. He power bombed the Red through the door, which felt like a loud gut punch. Darren capitalized this instantly, as he would, as the heel. And when Red realized his loss, he decided to remove his boots, which the building then froze because they thought he was ready to retire. That moment was quiet. Everyone was very shocked. But Red went back to pick them back up instead of leaving them behind. The crowd roared with excitement because they know he still wants to push for it. And we'll see what happens between these two. When Amazing Red took his boots off, the room didn't breathe. It just waited to see if he was serious about it, but obviously he didn't. That pop definitely earned. What is next for Amazing Red and Darren Richardson? I'm assuming this is the end between them two, and we just have to see potentially something between Carlos Ramirez and Amazing Red. Next up, we have the House of Glory Tag Team Championships between the champs, the Hardys, and Lance Anoa'i and Zilla Fatu, the Crown Jewel champ. The match had a lot of working against it before the bell even rang. The Hardys came in as the legends, still massive over still holding gold, but also clearly at a different stage of their careers. Lance Anoa'i and Zilla Fatu, on the other hand, walked out with something to prove, especially with the family legacy looming over every step they took. The opening stretch leaned heavily on Matt Hardy and Lance Anoa'i trading holds and strikes in a deliberate, almost methodical pace. Once Jeff tagged in, the crowd reacted, but it became increasingly clear that Jeff's role was very limited. The shirt stayed on, the big risk never came. He was present, but not central. A little downplay from the Jeff Hardy we knew. When Zilla Fatu finally entered the match, things picked up. The Samoans isolated Matt in their corner using power offense and quick tags to control the tempo. Zilla's Samoan drop and presence gave the match some needed weight, and for a moment, it felt like the challenges were legitimately taking over. Then everything changed, as you can see. Lance Anoa'i suddenly super kicked Zilla. And this was all about betrayal. Not by accident, not hesitantly, deliberately. The building didn't react immediately because nobody believed what they just saw. Lance followed it with a spear, jawed at his own partner, and then he walked out. He left Zilla in the middle of the ring, abandoning the match entirely. The betrayal landed harder than any move in the ring. Obviously, Jeff capitalized quickly with a stunner. Matt followed with a twist of fate, and the champions retained. But the titles were secondary at this point, and so was the match. This match didn't become about the Hardys winning, it just became about Lance Anoa'i detonating his own team. At the end of the match, you see the Hardys consoling Zilla Fatu with the unknown future between Zilla and Lance. Obviously, we might see a collision between them two, but it's unfortunate. Next up is the main event for the House of Glory World Championship between champion Charles Mason and a familiar face, Mustafa Ali. From the opening lockup, this felt like a main event between these two. For once, Charles Mason, who usually shows up sometimes wrestling in business attire, and when I mean business attire, I literally mean a white shirt, a vest, and work pants. He actually showed up for the first time I've seen him in an actual wrestling gear. He had a wrestling robe. He had wrestling tights. He was actually wrestling. This felt like a big change. Charles Mason wrestled like a man who believed the championship belonged to him. His promos before this match said it too. Not because of the opportunity, but because of inevitability. Mustafa Ali countered this whole thing with speed, precision, and constant motion, forcing Mason to chase him early. Ali controlled the early exchanges in this match with arm drags, spin kicks, and of course dives to the floor, and immediately set the tone for this match. Mason responded by showing everything down, throwing Ali into the post, turning the match into something uglier, more physical, and far more dangerous. As the match went on, the violence escalated. Mason bit Ali's forehead, and I'm not going to show that. But that's the thing about Mason. He does weird stuff, and Today, he decided to bite Ali's forehead. He trapped him in the ropes. He bent the rules without fully breaking them. Ali fought back with desperation, tornado DDTs, rolling neck breaks, and a 450 splash that would have ended the match if Mason's foot hadn't landed on the ropes. That moment alone convinced the crowd they were watching a title change. Then chaos crept in. The referee went down, weapons appeared, near falls stacked up. Ali came inches from victory multiple times, including after a clean 450. And again after surviving Mason's heaviest offense. Every kickout drew louder reaction, and the crowd fully turned behind Ali, ready to explode if he could have just landed one more clean shot. Instead, Mason caught him into a sleeper hold, center of the ring. Boom. Ali fought it, he faded, and the referee called it. The silence was immediate. Then you see him win. He won the match, but that's not even part of this story at this point, because as soon as the match was over, the lights went out. When the lights came back, a familiar face was next to Mason. Andrade was standing in the ring. He had his mask on, the black mask. He takes it off. The reaction was instant and violent. Andrade dropped Mason, picking up the House of Glory world title, posed with it just long enough for the message to sink in. Andrade is at House of Glory now. He then discarded it on the champion's body and walked away. This whole show didn't end with celebration. It ended with a surprise debut and becoming a warning shot for anyone in the locker room for the weeks to come at House of Glory. This show worked because it respected the audience, both in the emotion, making the emotion mattered, making the wins matter, and making the moments matter. Amazing Reds reminded everyone who he is. Charles Mason proves he belongs in the top as champ. And House of Glory once again show why it's one of the most consistent indie promotions in North America today. If you skip this show, I would suggest to go watch that if you are able to. But if not, their YouTube channel has highlights of other matches you can also enjoy, including some full shows. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like, subscribe to our channel, and let me know in the comments what you thought of House of Glory if you were able to watch it. Until next time, we'll catch you later. And of course, continue with everything with no soft behavior.